Welcome to the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from LA. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys.
Couldn't beat them, join them, huh? Couldn't beat them, join them, huh? You see how you came?
What are you talking about?
I had a blue suit on first. I was here first before you got here.
I have no idea how you could say that.
Because I got here
I
before
wear
you.
blue almost every day except Friday.
And you lose almost every day except Friday.
Well, here we go again, because all I know is if only these Bucks had Tom Brady, you'd be in big trouble. That's all I got to say.
I was really looking for the Clippers. I was like, man, I want the Clippers to make the finals.
Yeah.
Oh, the day has finally come, right, guys? We have a lot to discuss. The finals tip off tonight with the Suns seeking their first title and the Bucks their first since 1971. Unfortunately, Giannis is officially doubtful for the matchup with the knee injury. A Bleacher Report gave the Suns the advantage in 3 of the 5 starting positions, along with the bench and coach. And Fox Bet Sportsbook also has Phoenix as the favorites for tonight's series opener. So, Shannon, who you got? Who wins game 1?
Skip, everything is really predicated. I won't overcomplicate this. Everything is really predicated for the Suns with their backcourt. Devin Booker shoots better than 42%. They're undefeated in the postseason. Chris Paul has a positive plus-minus in the postseason. They're undefeated in the postseason. So everything is really predicated on that. Yes, DeAndre Ayton can do really well in the pick and roll. Both teams are very, the difference is the Bucks are pick and roll and they can pick and pop because Brook Lopez, he does have range. Ayton is really, he can pick and pop, but he prefers to dive to the basket, flush it home on you. So really everything, when you really look at this, now that Giannis is out, this is really going to be a backcourt series. It's Middleton, Holiday versus Booker and CP3. Who are you willing to put your money on? Who's shown you throughout the playoffs they've been more consistent? I'm taking the Suns in that matchup. Now, I heard what Jenny said that the sport book said the bench and they get their favorite in 3 of the 5 positions. I get all that. But my eye test tells me is that the Suns have played a little bit better, a little bit more consistent than the Bucks. Now, that's not to say the Bucks don't have a chance to win this ball game, because I do believe they can win this ball game. But they're going to need for Middleton to play a lot better. Skip, if you go back and look at his first 2 games in both series, go back against the Nets, go back against Atlanta. He did not play well, and they got blown. We really, a lot of people thought the series was over when they played the Nets because of how bad they got beaten and how poorly Middleton played. Fast forward, Atlanta, the exact same thing, and then he turns it on. He's extremely streaky. And the one thing we know about streaky players in the NBA, if they get it going, it does not matter. See, it used to be the great players were the only ones that could get streaky hot. But we saw Terrence Mann get hot, Skip, and go get 39. We saw Middleton go get 23 and a quarter, 20 and a quarter. So, but for me, I'm basing everything on the backcourt. If Chris Paul and Devin Booker plays well, they're going to win this. Take advantage of Ayton, Skip. He's a gazelle. Let him get out on the break. We know Chris Paul wants to control the pace. He's not really looking to get up and down. But I believe he's going to pick and choose his spots and where he can take advantage of Ayton's foot speed, getting up and down the court faster than Brook Lopez. Lopez is going to really have to stay out of foul trouble, Skip, because Portis, as big as he is, he can't do anything with Ayton. So it's going to be incumbent upon him to stay out of foul trouble. I'm also looking to see the matchup, Monty Williams. How do you play Portis? Because really, Bridges and Crowder, they're a little smallish side. You might have to go Saric. You might see a little bit more Saric going up against Portis than what we're normally used to seeing it. But everything for me is predicated on the backcourt. And with that being said, I'm going to take the Suns. I'm going to take the Suns to even cover tonight.
You are. Yeah. Okay, so you got Suns big by more than 6.
I got Suns by 9.
Okay, got it. So, throughout my career, I've relied on my instinct, and it's usually paid off. And my instinct is screaming at me right now that the Milwaukee Bucks have a great opportunity to steal a game tonight at Phoenix. Obviously, almost certainly, there'll be no Giannis. I'm going to say certainly there's going to be no Giannis.
Right.
But I don't know that for sure, because they are being very circumspect, almost sneakily so, because it's just the way we saw the Clippers do to the Suns with Kawhi. They just kept saying day to day, day to day, we don't know, we don't know. Well, I told you, I heard it from a very good source. He needs surgery and he's out.
Right.
But they kept saying, well, we're not sure. And it could be that Giannis is already been declared internally out for the whole series. I don't know.
Right.
But the point is, it sounded like yesterday, even though he did some very minor
on court
work, they called it court work on the side, I think. I don't think he's going to play tonight.
Well, he on the side. Even if he does play, what's he going to give you?
I don't know. So it's just hard to know about the knee because they're not even saying sprained or bruised or any. We have no idea what is going on inside a hyperextended knee. So because there's no Giannis, this is the classic case of what if Phoenix, having already been coronated, because most people are picking Phoenix. In fact, I don't know anybody who's picking Milwaukee. Maybe I missed somebody somewhere. Maybe one of the media people in Milwaukee are picking Milwaukee. But this is the great opportunity to steal a game and make it an uphill battle for the Suns the rest of the series.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Because clearly, Milwaukee just won 2 pretty big games without Giannis.
Right.
And obviously, Trey was also limited and out the one game, but limited in Game 6. So it's hard to quantify just how impressive the Bucks really were against the Hawks. But I thought they were very impressive. I liked the way the ball moved without Giannis because they became a 5-man offense instead of a 1-man show in the last couple of games. And I think that could serve them well tonight because they're playing with high confidence and high momentum coming right out of Game 6, take a day off and go right into game number 1 at Phoenix. And I love the fact that Middleton had the explosive quarters, the 20 in the fourth quarter and the 23 in the third quarter at Atlanta, which has not been his MO. He's always been all-star at home and disaster on the road. And all of a sudden, he had 2 breakout, at least quarters, at Atlanta, which could serve him well at Phoenix.
Well, also what serves him well, what happened in the past 2 series? They lost the opening game. And they mentally tough. They think about it. You lost the opening game in your home building. You did. When you had home court against the Hawks.
They did.
So, and you got blown out both games. You got blown out on the road by the Nets. So they're not going to be, Skip, even if they lose this game. It's not like, well, they were supposed to. They're at home. They're not going to be deterred by that.
So now I'm to what has vexed and hexed me my whole career. And I have termed it self-defeating prophecy. By that, I mean, if I think somebody's going to sneak up on somebody else, if I voice it publicly, trust me on this. You know this. These players watch this show. Right now, they just might be hanging on my every word. That could include Chris Paul. That could be Devin Booker. And they do have some dog in both of them. And it could include an emerging DeAndre Ayton who's got some fire in him. And if all 3 happen to be watching me right now pick Milwaukee, they are liable, all 3, to sit back in their chair and say, oh, yeah? Well, bleep you, Skip Bayless, watch this. And that's what I call self-defeating prophecy. And I reflect back to a couple of games earlier in my career in Dallas. Big Redskin rivalry games. I got to use the old nickname because it was Cowboys-Redskins. It was the best rivalry in sports, 82-83. This is a little before your time, but you'll probably remember. On opening night at Old Texas Stadium, on Monday Night Football, Joe Theismann came in, and I just thought that the Redskins were rolling, and they ended up rolling all the way to the Super Bowl, if you remember, in 82. But on opening night, I
that was
thought,
strike year, too, wasn't it?
I believe it was the strike year. I hope I'm not confusing 82 and
87.
Yeah, 87.
87 was strike year.
Okay, but the point was that I picked the Redskins at that point, Washington football team, obviously, to upset the Cowboys. Well, it's in the paper that morning, and they have all day to read it. And so the Cowboys read it, and they, good Lord, if you remember this game, they intercepted Joe Theismann 5 times and sang happy birthday to him. The whole crowd sang happy birthday because it was his birthday in early September. And the Cowboy defensive backs got in a big huddle in the postgame locker room and chanted my name because they all credited me with inspiring them to win the game.
You know how this works. You know if you're right for the the team, you can't pick against them because they actually think you're a part of the team.
Okay, well then the very next year, later in the year, it was December 11th, Washington came to Dallas, and it was a huge game featuring Joe Theismann and John Riggins for all the marbles. And I picked the home team to roll 31-10. And guess what the score was? 31-10 the other way. And the Redskins all credited me in the postgame locker room with inspiring them to win the game. So my point on this is, yeah, I do have this gut feeling that somehow, some way, that Milwaukee's just good enough to go win this game tonight, because it's hard on Chris Paul because he got coronated. It's like, oh, Chris broke through and everybody's so happy for him. It's like they have already been crowned as the champion, and they should win this.
I think that's what it is, Skip. I don't know. I think everybody is picking the Suns because they want this for Chris Paul so bad.
I got it.
It's not to say Milwaukee isn't likable, because they have likable players, but I just think Chris Paul is just, he's just the average. He's an average sized man playing a large man's game.
I totally agree. And I will be very happy for him if he does break all the way through and wins this ring, because his career deserves that conclusion to it. If in fact this is for all I know, they're going to be good enough to do it again next year. But right now he broke through, and I told you, Lil Wayne was telling me the other day, he's so happy. He's just found his bliss in the NBA Finals. And Wayne's point was, even if they lose, Chris is going to be okay. Well, yeah, we get that. We talked about it yesterday. But no, he needs to finish this off. And you know, and I know Chris wants in his heart of hearts, he wants this ring, because you can't get this close and not close this deal.
Yeah, they don't guarantee you're going to be back.
No.
There's no guarantee, because you got a lot of breaks. A lot of things have to go well for you to win a championship. Now, I don't know if any team that's going to, if they win this championship, would have had more things go right for the Phoenix Suns than the Phoenix Suns have. When Bron is nicked up in AD, and you get the Nuggets without Murray.
Thank you. That's the point of this. I sit back and I say, wait a second. Look how many breaks they got against the Lakers, because AD goes down, then he tries to come back and play, and he couldn't go, and LeBron never was quite right. And they won it pretty easily in 6 games, And then there was no Jamal Murray.
Swept the Nuggets
in Denver, and they swept them. And Chris in the closeout game was sensational. But then here comes the Clippers, and there's no Kawhi. And so you get them, and then all of a sudden, Marcus Morris in the first couple of games had some weird knee injury, and he was very hobbled and limited early. And then for the last 2 games, they lose Big Zoo. Okay, well, you're getting break upon break upon break. How good are you really? I can't tell, because in this postseason, injury-racked as it's been, how do you rank? How do you decipher what's really happening? It's hard to really draw a bead on it.
It is, and you get another break. You might play the first 2 to 3 games without the other team's best player.
I'm just saying, and he's a 2-time MVP. Now, I keep telling you, I like to watch them on offense better without him. But I'm not discounting how great he is, because he is a force. Unfortunately, he becomes such a force. He's a one-man show for them all too often, and he has flamed out and gone up in smoke all too often in big playoff games when they, as they say in Ayton used the phrase yesterday, you have to build a wall against Giannis, because they're all talking and anticipating that he's going to play sooner than later. And I get that. But again, I just like their vibe better. I like their unity better without him, at least at the first. What if they could steal this one of these two?
That would be huge if they would steal it. But Skip, I just think the thing is they have to play different. It's kind of like a team when you lose your quarterback. Well, all of a sudden, you can't run the Tampa. I don't care how good Tampa is offensively. They lose Tom Brady. They're not calling the same game plan. You're going to run the ball a little more, and you're probably, because speaking my terms, we lost John Elway. Well, TD yards per game went up because it's different. So they have to play different. Middleton now, all of a sudden, he does not have to defer. All of a sudden, Holiday, he's the true second option as opposed to being the third option.
And you know what? They both look like all-stars in the last 2 games because they have been all-stars. And they were free to just let it go, be you. And usually they defer, they watch a lot because he's going to dribble a lot and try to get free in the middle.
But they need the ball. The difference between them and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant went to Golden State and didn't miss a beat because Kevin Durant don't need the ball in his hand. They need the ball in order to be what we saw them over the last 2 games, become all-star. Well, Middleton was an all-star, but you see how well he played. Well, everybody can't play off the ball like a Kevin Durant. Middleton needs the ball. Holiday needs the ball. But if I get a ball to Giannis, what am I going to do? I'm going to stand around and watch. I ain't going to set no screen for him. I'm going to watch it. Okay, Giannis, pull it out. Okay, Euro step, dunk, a leg up.
Okay, and if he gets fouled, he goes to the line, and the crowd goes crazy because they start quick counting him down.
10, 9,
right? And he's doing through his whole routine. He's rehearsing, right?
Yeah.
And the ref's holding the ball, and you're saying, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, the ref.
They're just giving him the ball, make him shoot.
Right. I think they're going to pass a rule, Skip. They're going to say, "Look, we can't let him just go through the motion. Take 5 seconds to do that. Once he gets to the line, throw him the ball. Don't be letting him do all those motions."
So then he goes 3, 2, 1, and he shoots an air ball.
Right.
After all that, he shoots an air ball, and he shot 2 the last time we saw him, and 1 from 3.
Right.
This takes the life and the heart out of a team. As great as he is, he's sometimes hard to win with at this level if you're doing that.
Right.
So that's why I just like the feel of this team right now coming into this game, because Middleton can just go off on anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if he had a hot hand tonight and gets a little help from Drew, and Bobby Portis is becoming a force. And if you go back to Brooklyn, Brook, and you low post him, where he can do a little bit of damage and then rim protect on the other end, well, now you're talking about a pretty good basketball team.
Well, it's going to be a little different because Ayton is a little bit bigger than Clint Capella. And you're not going to have the size advantage of posting. So I don't know how much he's going to be willing to post. But I do think this is the Bucks are a big team. And the Suns are going to have to do a great job of keeping them off the glass, because you look up and Tucker has got 7, 8 rebounds. You're like, how the hell he get 7, 8 rebounds?
How about 10 rebounds?
Yeah, and then you got Lopez, who's not a rebounder. He gets 6 or 7. Middleton hunts the glass. Holiday gets on the glass. So you're going to have to do a great job of keeping them off the glass, limiting their second chance points, and doing a great job of getting out. Ayton is an advantage over Lopez. Every big that the Bucks could possibly throw at him, he has an advantage. Let him use that advantage. Don't be afraid, Chris, to push the tempo.
So the last guy's P.J. Tucker you just mentioned.
Yeah.
He's starting to show me championship-style guts and glue.
Yeah.
Like you just want him on your team because he'll defend.
Yes.
He'll attack the glass, offense and defense.
Right.
And you don't think those 3 perimeter players for them, PJ, Holiday, Middleton, they will guard.
Oh, they can defend.
Like all 3 of them will guard like crazy. So I kind of like the matchup. You can't stop Book. You probably can't stop Chris tonight, the role he's on. but I'm going to remind everybody about that role. Remember what happened? He came back from COVID, and he played games 3, 4, and 5, and they lost 2 of them, and they almost lost the middle game because it was 84-80, and neither team, Clippers, Suns, could make a shot in the fourth quarter. Remember that?
Yep.
They combined him to 17 straight shots. Well, so Chris, in those 3 games leading up to Game 6, he had shot 32% from the field. He was 19 of 60. Well, that's horrendously bad. From 3, he was 2 of 16. That's 13%. That's even worse.
Correct.
And in the fourth quarters of those games, he was even worse. He was 5 of 19 in the fourth quarters and 1 of 7 from 3 going into Game 6.
Right.
And then it went all the way down to 1:43 left of the third quarter, and Batum hits a 3 to cut it to 7. And Chris said, "No, I refuse." Even at Staples, which is his home away from home, right? He just said, "No, I got this," and he scores 8 points down the stretch of the third quarter, the last 1:43. And then he adds 19 in the fourth quarter. That's 27 points he scored like that, and in that stretch, he made 5 out of 5 3-point shots, and he's not a great 3-point shooter. Well, how do you explain that? I don't know. He sort of went Chris Middleton out of nowhere, right? Except it really mattered because it was the right time to do that. It was the greatest game and greatest stretch of his career.
We believe that if both backcourts play to their potential, okay, now the role players. It was an accident. Giannis had to get hurt before Bud was willing to put Bobby Portis in the game. Skip, it was kind of like Steve Kerr just stumbled upon that lineup with Iggy.
He did.
He stumbled in an accident. And he's like, oh, let's try this.
Well, I think it was desperation.
It was.
Well, they're down 2-1 at LeBron.
You end up going two down the way because that third game, Skip, is when they had the Cavs had that big lead. They inserted Iggy and they came back. But it was the start of something that, you know what, this is the lineup we need to go with. Well, Giannis getting hurt, they inserted Portis, and we saw what he's been able to do.
At 6'10", 250.
Right.
Okay.
So can Portis still give you that kind of production? Can he still give you 12 and 8 while the backcourt does what they do? And can Brook Lopez continue playing as well as he had?
Okay. So when you break this down, it doesn't seem like a mismatch to me without Giannis.
No, it's
right?
not. It's not. It's not. No,
okay.
It's not.
But you were adamant you liked them to win by 9.
I do.
Okay,
I do.
But that's the runaway momentum, and it might be somewhat prisoner of the moment momentum because of what you just saw Chris do in Game 6.
Well, I don't expect that because I still believe that's the greatest game Chris Paul has ever played.
Well, it is. I mean, it's not even close because all it did was get him to his first finals.
Right. It just seems like every big shot he was willing to take and make. But, Skip, I just think the thing is that, and I understand that Book and CP3 is going to be a formidable matchup with Middleton and Holiday because both of those guys can defend. As a matter of fact, of all 4 of those guys, Booker is the weakest defender. He's really not a defender. He's a guy that can go get buckets. But guys can take advantage of him. Paul George, Reggie Jackson, guys were taking advantage of Book.
Yep.
Well, you're going to have to be on your best behavior because Middleton has shown he can give you 12, but he can also give you 50.
He can.
Holiday can go get 30 because we saw him do that. So Book is going to have to dig in a little bit more defensively and still give you the high 20s to maybe 30. But I just like the way the Suns are playing. I like what I saw from Jay Crowder because up until Game 6, Jay Crowder had not played well.
Huge.
And then Game 6, every big three that he needed to take and make, he made it. Yes,
he did.
Yes,
he set the table. And, and Chris brought the dessert.
Yes,
that's what happened.
Yes.
So in the end, I'm going to go on record that I like Milwaukee to win this game 110 to 105. Now forget that I said that, okay? And if you're watching Suns, I didn't mean it. It was all a joke. I didn't really predict that. Just forget that I even was on TV today.
Well, see, the thing is, Skip, I didn't go quite that high score because Chris Paul is not one of these guys that get the tempo up and down. Because if you look at it, with the exception of the last game, Skip, points were hard to come by. I mean, they got to 130, but it took an exceptional ball game from Chris Paul. They were in the 90s. Most of the games were in the 90s, maybe even, I mean, you had an 84-80 game. You had a 96, 98 type of a ball game. So I think I went 105 to 96. That's what I'm thinking the score is going to be.
Okay. So I'm quietly picking.
So we got some due on it.
We have no due. I'm not. I'll just jinx it. I'm not going to jinx my own pick. I already did enough just to blurt it out publicly.
You do realize that you can't go to Vegas at the gaming tables and just sit up there and play for fun. You got to bet something. Yeah, I got the Suns, you got the Bucks. We got to bet something.
Hey, Ernestine and I play like penny slots. Do they still have those? I think they do.
They don't. Look here, you just can't pull the thing with nothing. You got to put something in there. Okay, well, bet penny then.
Okay, bet you a drop of dew. Nope. You know what? I don't even like the Bucks, but I like them better. They're almost rootable without Giannis.
Okay.
With Giannis, I just can't even.
Okay, well, they're not going to have Giannis in this game 1, so let's put 2 cases on it.
No, well, I'm taking are you going to give me the 6?
I give you the 5.
Well, it's 6.
No, it's 5.
It's 6. I just checked right before we came on the air.
No, Jenny said 5.5.
Well, I got 6. It's 6. I just heard this from the controller.
It's 6.
Right again.
Well, I'll give you 6.
Okay, thank you for one case.
Okay,
I'll do it.
One case, no pennies on this one?
That was a joke. I didn't really mean any of it.
Don't worry.
You've been waiting all your life,
Skip wasn't actually on TV today. I like that. That's funny. No mercy. Bleacher Report posted an offseason trade idea for every NBA team, and the one for the Spurs actually raised some eyebrows for the receiving team, the Lakers. The Spurs would sign and trade DeMar DeRozan in exchange for Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, and the 22nd overall pick. Shannon, if you were the Lakers, would you do this deal?
Hell, I'll trade Kyle Kuzma for J. Cole. Nat King Cole album or a pair of Cole Haan shoes.
Would you?
Yeah, you ask me anything about Kyle Kuzma.
Cole Haan's a pretty good.
And I'll let Kyle Kuzma go for a pair. The bubble ones, the air with the air like the Nike shoes, because Nike bought Cole Haan.
Yeah.
Skip, I mean, I would really hate to see Trez, because I like Trez. Because the one thing I know about Trez, I know what I'm going to get. If you let him play his 25, 27 minutes, he's going to give you somewhere between 16 and 7. That's what he's going to give you. He's going to give you all out effort every single night. No questions asked. Kyle Kuzma, I don't know what the hell I'm going to get. I might get 22. I might get 11. But one thing I know for certain, I'm going to get some idiotic, some low IQ basketball plays on a nightly basis. So for me, all things being equal, would I prefer to have Steph? Would I prefer to have Dame Lillard or Bradley Beal, a shooter? Sure. But I'll take DeMar DeRozan. I'll be willing to part ways with that package to get DeMar DeRozan, a guy that initiated a lot of the Spurs offense last year, a guy that can go get his own shot. Now, he's not the shooter. He's not a three-point guy. He's a mid-range guy and get into the lane. But what the Lakers need, Skip, is someone that does not have to be spoon-fed by LeBron all the time. Because most of the guys on this roster needs to be spoon-fed or else they're not going to eat. So the Lakers need somebody like a DeRozan that can create for others. He can go get his own shot. And he's tough. He can defend. He can defend also. So I like it, all things being equal. But I'll be willing. I think the Lakers are to the point now. We've seen what Kuzma is. The guy stayed 4 years of college. Really great. The great players, they don't stay 4 years. He's at his ceiling. I don't believe he's going to. Now, he can get better on a bad team. But I'm talking about playing winning basketball on a championship caliber winning team. I believe he's plateaued. I believe we've seen the best that we're going to see from him. And for an opportunity to get DeMar DeRozan, absolutely. Now, I'm not saying I would take DeRozan over those other 3 guys, but if that's the only thing that's presented to us, absolutely. But Kuzma needs to go.
Kuzma needs to go.
Yeah.
So I'm going to speak for a team that I've loved for many, many years, the San Antonio Spurs. So I'm going to go we on you.
Okay.
We do not want Montrezl Harrell. He does not fit in our culture. I'm sorry.
Okay, y'all move
that's
him.
Over and out.
Well, move him then.
Well, we would like Kuzma, THT.
Oh, no, stop it.
And KC3 in a sign and trade. It's going to be, remember, DeMar DeRozan's about to be unrestricted, so this is a sign and trade.
You're not getting THT.
We want Kuzma, THT, and KC3. That's who we want. We want those 3 for DeMar DeRozan.
You greedy. That's not what we offered you.
Well, this is just some website proposal.
Okay, well, see, now you go see. I try to bring you a nice trade. I say, Spurs, this is what I have to offer.
Well, this was our superstar. This was our big.
Y'all don't want him.
This was our new Kawhi, right?
Do you still want him?
Do we still want him?
Yes.
Well, we've missed the playoffs the last couple of years.
Well, that's what take the Kuz and the 22nd pick.
And by the way, I'm going to remind you, as you pointed out, and remind those out in TV land, that this man, over the last 3 years with the Spurs, shot 23% from 3. Now, he didn't take that many, but if you look at the 365 players over the last 3 years who attempted at least 153s, he is dead last in the NBA. Dead last at 23%. Yikes.
Well, that's why you should be. You know what? With that being said, you should be willing to take. You shouldn't ask for anything
he's
more.
He's an all-star. He's a 4-time all-star, and he was our driving force. And he did impress me with some of his shot creating and late game clutch shot making.
He clutched for real.
Yeah. He is.
He makes some buckets in the crunch.
Born and raised in Compton, so he's straight out and straight back to Compton, right? So we'll do it. I like this trade for Kuzma, THT.
No, ain't nobody proposed. They didn't propose that. Why you proposing that?
I'm proposing that. I'm just defending the honor of the Spurs because for me, DeMar DeRozan couldn't quite live up to the star power required to be a solo star.
Oh, really? I mean, come on, Skip.
Well,
I mean, most of you guys don't say anything. I mean, if you look at all your star players, with the exception of the Iceman going back to the ABA. But you look at Robinson, he wasn't outgoing. Tim Duncan barely uttered 15 words his whole 19-year NBA career. And Kawhi said even fewer than that. So he was perfect for you guys.
Manu had a few things to say.
Yeah, but I don't put Manu in the David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Kawhi category.
Tony Parker at least had one thing to say late in his career. He said, my injury is 100 times worse than Kawhi Leonard's.
And it did something really bad to your franchise, didn't it?
Well, he tore his quadriceps as opposed to tendinosis or whatever it was called.
Kawhi said he had to. The man said he was hurt.
Okay, whatever. I have forgiven. I just haven't forgotten about that.
You ain't forgot. You ain't forgotten, and you haven't forgiven either.
Okay, I have forgiven because I'm back on the Kawhi bandwagon, and I think he's going to be back with the Clippers. But we'll see about that. But the point is, the Spurs need a jump start. They need to start completely over by getting rid of DeMar DeRozan as their their one star, their solo star.
Wait, Skip, if you think about it, Skip, most of your guys that you get are homegrown. You look at Robinson, you look at Duncan, you look at Manu, you look at Parker, you look at Kawhi. Every guy that you've tried to get to fill that role as a superstar, be it LaMarcus Aldridge, DeMar DeRozan, it has not worked.
Draft steals by R.C. Buford.
That's why we got the 22nd pick for you. Because R.C. Buford can pick them things, right? He can get them. Okay. He was shrewd enough to trade George Hill for Kawhi.
So you got me. I'll take Kuzma and THT in the 22nd.
No.
I'm good. Done.
THT isn't going anywhere, Skip.
THT on TNT. I like that. Yeah.
I got the package for you. Now, this is what we're offering, Skip. Now, if you don't like the deal, we're going to have to take it elsewhere. And we feel very comfortable taking our deal elsewhere. Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Okay. Be my guest.
Well, good luck. Oh, so would you rather prefer to lose DeMar DeRozan for nothing? You remember like what happened last? KD walked out the door and left OKC with nothing. At least LeBron James said, you know what? When he went to Miami, what was it? Sign and trade. You got 3 first-rounders. So do you want something or do you want nothing?
8 minutes ago, you were giddy about this deal.
Yes.
Like you couldn't wait.
The original deal.
Yesterday.
You see what you do? See, you a sneaky businessman. You always trying to add something to what we already got here. The fine print. So anytime I do something with you, I got to read the fine print.
Give me 6 points and the Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm good.
I gave you that.
I know.
But you tried to addendum. You tried to add on to the parameters of what we had already agreed to. No, I'm not going to let you do it.
I didn't agree to this. I just read it as, like, was it Bleacher Report's proposal? It's just...
You tried to hold me hostage.
It's not real yet.
But I'm saying...
It's just a proposal.
You tried to hold me hostage. It's like I'm married some heiress, and she going to get right before the wedding and says, okay, sign this. No, I'm not signing anything. You should have asked me this in advance. You should have asked me, you can't wait till I bring you the contract. We had verbally agreed.
Did you just admit you were going to marry her for her money only?
No.
Well, that's what you just said.
But we should have talked about this beforehand. This is something that we work out the months leading up to it. It was never an issue. Now, if it was an issue before, if I keep dragging my feet, I got no problem with you says, okay, Shannon, we're not going through this. But we're not going to be in a relationship for 2, 3 months, 6 months, a year, and then all of a sudden you don't mention anything, and then I get to my sign this. Because I'm going to say, hey, homeboy, Bucket, Burns, we out.
Out?
Yep.
Well, LeBron needs DeMar DeRozan.
We out.
Desperately.
We out.
And if you need him as your third quote-unquote star, your new member as a big 3, that would be a serious big 3, right?
We are
a 4-time All-Star. You need to add him.
You tried to add some... The original thing said Kuzma, Trez, and the 22nd pick is this year's draft. Okay, move him.
No, we can't move him.
Yes, you can.
He's hard to move.
No, he's not.
It's hard to play with, hard to live with. You know it, and I know it. I warned you.
I think Greg Popovich will love his effort, his hustle. Yeah. That's what the Spurs pride themselves on, hustle.
We don't do Montrez's. We just don't do it.
Y'all don't do, let me tell you what else y'all don't do. I tell you what else y'all don't do. Y'all don't win. You don't win. Last I checked, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, and Kawhi aren't walking through that door. Neither is Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. So you better take what you can get.
Once upon a time, Greg Popovich said, as soon as Timmy walks out that back door, I'll be right behind him. Yeah. And guess who's still the coach of the Spurs?
Skip.
Interesting.
I like Greg Popovich, but you know deep down, he believes he had a lot to do with that success. So he wants to show that just like everybody, what does Coach Belichick want to do?
You got it.
What did Tom Brady want to do?
You got it.
Everybody wants to show.
I know. I was the guy.
Yes.
It was all about me.
Tim Duncan was never just like Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson thought, he was done. As soon as he was done until he found a Shaq and Kobe. He didn't find a Shaq and Kobe, he was going to be done. And when he couldn't find another Shaq and Kobe, he like, well, I go to the front office. Well, I'm not coaching the team.
R.C. Buford's about to hold you hostage.
No, he's not.
This deal. Yep.
We take our show and we go somewhere.
This is your only way out.
It is not our only way. Hold on. There's 29 other teams. What do you mean here our only way?
Well, how are you going to get Damian Lillard? You can't. You don't have enough firepower. You don't have enough ammunition.
Don't worry about it.
You have enough for this, but you're going to have to hurt a little bit.
No.
You're going to have to give up THT.
Hey, Steph Curry might say, hey, I want out. What if he say that?
Well, how are you going to get him out?
He just say, I want out and and I want to go to the Lakers. I want to play with Bron.
He's not going to say that.
You hoping he don't say that. Well, what about Dame? Dame said, I want to go to L.A. and I want to play with GOAT.
Do you think he's going to say that? I don't. I don't
know
think
what
he
he's
wants to
gonna say.
leave Portland. This is your only hope.
That ain't the only hope.
You got to pay for it.
You know what you do? You keep presenting this as my only hope. You think I'm that desperate? That's not my only hope.
I could hear it in your voice when you started. Now you flip completely around.
No. Our only hope is to get you-know-who on another team. KK. Kyle Kuzma.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
That'll clear it all up. That just wipes the slate clean. Okay.
That's it.
I think Kyle Kuzma's pretty good.
Yeah, on a bad team.
I think he'd make a great Spur.
On a bad team?
Yeah. Okay.
We're a good team.
Okay. Well.
Services are no longer required.
By the way, you shot 35% from three last year. That ranked 21st in the NBA. And DeMar, he'll improve you from that standpoint.
Yeah, but DeMar DeRozan can get his own shot. Another 20-point a night guy.
Do it.
They add the GOAT James and AD.
Kuzma, THT, we're good.
Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
Throw in the 22nd.
I'm done with this trade. Okay. I don't even know why I'm talking trade with you no more.
Okay.
We're not getting anywhere.
You'll panic and you will
We're not
crumble.
gonna panic.
You will cave.
Skip, you know the last couple of years y'all missed the playoff, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Last year you flamed out in the first round.
We can always say we had injuries. What can y'all say? Did y'all have injuries? No.
Nothing to speak of.
No, nothing. You had nothing to speak of on the court other than DeMar DeRozan.
Okay. But whatever happened to LeBron James?
I tell you what we'll do, Skip. You know what? I got a trade for you.
Yeah.
We'll take DeMar DeRozan and Patty Mills, and we'll trade you the 22nd pick, Kyle Kuzma, Trez, and KCP.
You want Patty Mills?
Yep.
He's on his last leg.
Don't worry about it. Well, since he's on our team, you shouldn't have to worry about his legs. Don't you worry about his legs.
Well, I'm worried about AD's legs and Bron's legs and Patty Mills' legs.
Why are you, first of all, if you went to Spurs, why are you worried about what we got going on?
Okay, I'll throw in Patty. I love Patty. He's been my favorite Spur for like the last 6 years. He was the one who shot you off the court.
Nah, we don't want him now. Since you talk so highly of him, we don't want him. Something wrong with him. Anytime you talk glowingly about somebody, I don't trust it.
There's something going on. Interesting. Okay, all right, we're moving on, guys. Listen to this. Chris Paul is the Players Association president, and he defended this season's quick turnaround and more compact schedule that some, like LeBron, have openly criticized. CP3 stressed that it's a process that involves all the players and conversations are had about every detail. He also said, quote, if people don't like it, then, everybody has the same opportunity to be a part of all of these conversations. So, Shannon, are you surprised that Chris Paul didn't defend the stance of his good friend? Thought they were best friends, LeBron.
No, I mean, there's nothing to defend. I mean, LeBron has his opinion. Chris Paul has his opinion. And Chris Paul is absolutely right. Just like when they went to the bubble. Everybody was not happy about going to the bubble. And some people opted out, and some people begrudgingly went to the bubble. And so, no, I don't have a problem with it. And LeBron James, even though he voiced his displeasure, should not weigh that of 399 other players, of the 400 members that's in the Players Association. So I don't have a problem with LeBron saying what he said. I don't have a problem with Chris Paul saying what he said. LeBron understands that the NBA is a company, and the company's going to do what's in the best interest of the company. LeBron James says, okay, I want to do what's in the best interest of the company, but I also got to do what's in the best interest of my company, which is LeBron James. Now, Chris Paul has done a great job with the Players Association. I got no quarrels with Chris Paul. But also, you have to also look at this a little deeper. Chris Paul is still playing. Let's not lose sight of that. Chris Paul is still playing. So there's nothing to complain about. Because what the injuries that befell a lot of these other teams did not hit the Suns. So I don't have a problem with Chris Paul said, look, we had conversation. Everybody had a conversation. You could have chimed in with your opinion. Not to say that LeBron didn't. And all LeBron said is that, look, what I was telling you about is that when you play 10 fewer games and you play it in 2 fewer months, you subject yourself, you open yourself up to some injuries that you probably wouldn't have gotten, because you got to turn this thing around, Skip, because guess what? You got to send 12 NBA players to the Olympics. Well, the guys just showed up. Now, you got a couple of guys that's on the Olympic team that's not playing, that's not practicing in Vegas today. So for me, Skip, I don't have a problem with what LeBron said. I don't have a problem with what Chris Paul said. There's just a disagreement. My opinion is I wish we had taken an extra month, and then maybe we wouldn't have seen the injuries that we saw. Chris Paul said, look, The league had lost money. We were about to lose money, and I just felt it was in the best interest. And when we sat down with the executive committee, and when we weighed the options, and plus, Skip, you have to understand, there's only one LeBron James. LeBron James makes more money on and off the court than any other NBA player. So he gets a luxury that if they didn't play, guess what? His sponsors are still going to pay him. 3/4 of the league don't have a sponsor. They don't have a shoe deal. They don't have a Mountain Dew thing now, Skip. They don't have Beats. So I don't have a problem with either guy, what they said. And just because we're friends, that's what a friend should do. Don't tell me everything I need to hear. Tell me what I need to know.
Okay. So I thought one of your last points was the point, which is Chris Paul is also dealing in his own self-interest right now because he's the last man standing, right?
Yes.
He's made it to his first finals in 16 seasons, and it's because his team is the healthiest.
Yes.
You know, he wasn't the healthiest, but he managed to survive it.
Right.
Had a busted shoulder for a while against the Lakers, and then he got COVID. I don't think he had any symptoms, but he missed first couple of games of the Clippers.
He did.
Then he came back, and now he says he's dealing with some torn ligament in his shooting wrist. Not sure how bad it was. It sure didn't hurt him shooting the basketball down the stretch against the Clippers in Game 6.
I guess you have some other guys try to hurt their wrist if you go shoot like that.
I guess so. But the point is, his team is pretty healthy as it goes right now.
Yeah.
And I also think Chris would know, having been the president of the Players Association for so many years, LeBron was his second in command from 15 to 19.
Correct.
Okay, but I also think Chris has been doing this long enough to know that a lot of this is freakish injury. It's hard to explain it. It's hard to quantify what's happened. Have the playoffs been decimated? Yeah. But what happened last year in the bubble? They got almost 5 months off to refresh and refurbish their bodies going into the bubble. So LeBron should have been at his peak performance going into the bubble because you can't ask for better than that because they just played a few walk-up, warm-up games.
But that's my point.
Playoffs.
But what they do? They didn't take 5 months off and says, okay, where are you seated? We're going to start playing right away, did they? No, they gave them an opportunity to ramp it up.
Just a few. They just had like, what?
8 games.
Yeah, okay, 8 games. But I'm talking about the starters might have played 5 of those games, right?
Yeah.
So they ramped it up, and here they went. And then they get to the NBA Finals in the bubble. And in Game 1, the Heat are without their leading playoff scorer, Dragic, hurt. And then Bam gets hurt, busts his shoulder up in Game 1, and he's out or ineffective the rest of the way. Well, how do you explain that? They had 5 months off like everybody else.
But here's the thing,
it's just freakish.
If guys got hurt in the finals, that's one thing. But why haven't we seen this kind of freaky injuries in NBA history before? If it's just freaky.
Okay. Okay, let's look down the list. LeBron, he's just finished year 18. Well, you don't think he's going to get hurt some? Sure, he's going to get hurt. So I got to chalk that up to age and attrition.
Okay.
Father time. It's going to happen. He had the groin a couple of years back, and now he's got the ankle, and it persisted.
Well, KD not that old, so what happened to his hamstring? James Harden not that old, what happened to his hamstring?
What do you mean KD?
KD hurt his hamstring, missed 29 games, remember?
Okay, all right, but then he came back strong for the playoffs. But Kyrie got hurt, turned his ankle over.
Yes.
He's been hurt his whole career, on and off. Harden's had trouble with that hamstring his whole career. If you look back to his Houston days, he would go stretches with hamstring issues.
But he ain't missed no time. Not like this.
Well, he has. And if you look back at Houston, he had injuries, right and left, mainly hamstrings. And then Embiid, he's got a cartilage tear.
Oh, we're talking about him.
Okay, well, he's always hurt. And the Giannis one, is it kind of freakish? He just awkwardly came down? I don't know. Is that from wear and tear? I have no idea.
If that's the case, Skip, so why not just continue this? Why not? Because you got the whole thing to yourself. There's nothing else going on. So why not just play it like this? Why not just play your condensed season in this small amount of time and just move forward? Because you got the summer to yourself. You're not worried about football. You're not worried about anything. So you got it to yourself. So why not continue to play like this? If it's no problem, if everything is okay, why not continue on this schedule?
How do you mean? Once this ends, when are you going to start the season?
No, I'm just saying, just start the season like you normally would. So what you do, you start in December and you be done in May.
Done in May?
Yeah, just like you did last year. So if there's nothing wrong with it, there's nothing wrong. These injuries are just freakish. Skip, you got everything to yourself.
Okay.
There's no football. You don't have to worry about football. You see, if you start in October, you got to worry about football. You ain't got to worry about football. You get
first of the year.
You get 3 months free and clear.
When do they start this year? Is around
They started Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So
you
just
still got to
start
worry about football. You got to fight through the whole NFL playoffs.
But then guess what? Then the playoffs are over in February, and then you get March, April, May, June, all to yourself.
Okay. Well, but they'll go back to the way they were.
Why?
Well, what do you mean why?
Just keep
this is all COVID caused.
No, but I'm saying if there is nothing wrong with the scheduling, if playing every other day is not an issue, why wouldn't you continue to play every other day?
Okay. So help me out. Trey Young's injury. He weirdly steps completely back behind himself.
Yeah, that's freaky.
Okay. Isn't that just freaky?
Yes.
I mean, okay, so it's just bad luck. So I think back to 1989. I'm in Detroit for game 1 of the finals. Magic and Byron Scott pull their hamstring. They're prohibitive favorites over the bad boy Pistons. I'm sitting courtside, and the bottom falls out of the series because they both pulled their hamstring.
That had more to do with all those finals accumulating over the years.
Well, did it? I don't even know how you can quantify that. And then how many finals have we seen decided involving LeBron? So was it just too, were they pushing too hard in 2015 when he lost, obviously, Kevin Love late in the year?
Well, remember Kevin Love got freaky with, what you call him, Olynyk. Tweaked his shoulder, pulled his shoulder out, and Kyrie was dealing with that knee injury the whole year. Okay,
was that freakish on Kevin Love's part? Yeah. And then Kyrie just fractures his kneecap in the overtime of game 1.
Right.
Well, it happened then. How do you stop it then? And then what about, how did Kawhi break through and win his ring in Toronto? There's no Steph. No Clay and KD. And you know what happened?
Yep.
And you said chalk it up to injury.
Right.
Well, they just seem to be happening on a regular basis. My opinion of this whole league is the athletes are getting so great. They're so much bigger, stronger, and faster than before.
Of course.
That the physicality of the playoffs is injurious. In fact, I can make a case this game is more dangerous to play than your game is.
No,
well, I don't know. I don't know. When I start looking at what's happening.
I mean, they've taken a lot of physicality out, but basketball will never be tougher than football.
Well, I'm just saying that they play at such high rates of speed and from such heights.
I'm gonna need the guys. I'm gonna start needing the guys to look like Myles Garrett on the basketball court, collide into people. You see Myles Garrett, you see Aaron Donald, you see guys getting 300 pounds and running 4.6.
Okay, and they have shoulder pads and helmets?
Yeah,
No, they don't.
That little stuff, that's a hard hat.
Okay.
When you run into somebody at that speed.
Okay, well, something's going on here where they're just dropping like flies.
Yeah.
Right?
It's just not a good fit. I mean, and selfishly, Skip, I wanted to see Kyrie. I wanted to see Harden. I want to see everybody. And I understand it's not going to always be like that. We've seen a lot of championships decided because of injury. And selfishly, for me, I want everybody to be at their best. And unfortunately, that's asking a bit too much. Mm-hmm. But for me, I don't have a problem with LeBron saying, I tried to warn them that, playing every other day, condensing the season, and basically playing 10 fewer games in 2 fewer months would lead to this. And I don't have a problem with Chris Paul said, look, we ask guys to weigh in, but we know we are a union. And one voice shouldn't drown out the other voices. Mm-hmm. And so, LeBron I'm sure LeBron understands that. Okay.
But Chris Paul didn't really take a stance, nor did he defend LeBron's position.
He took a stance. He played. He decided, at the end of the day, Skip, they voted, and they said, we're going to play. And Chris Paul is like, I don't know what y'all going to play now. I'm here.
Yep.
Skip, if you think about it, there are a lot of people complaining about the bubble. But the Lakers and the Heat didn't complain because they were the last 2 teams standing.
Yep.
So in a situation like this, the last 2 teams standing, I'm sure the Milwaukee. But Milwaukee got here how? They didn't face the Nets at full strength.
No, they did not.
So you're here. So let's go play.
Okay, I'll buy that.
All right, guys, let's.
I'm with Chris Paul and GOAT.
No mercy.
Aaron Rodgers opened up while talking to reporters yesterday ahead of the match that tees off later today. Rodgers said this offseason has given him the, quote, opportunity to work on my mental health. Rodgers also said, quote, sometimes the loudest person in the room is not the person who has all the facts on their side. Sometimes there's a lot of wisdom in being selective on what you say. So, Shannon, what do you make of what Aaron Rodgers had to say here?
I wish I cared a lot more than probably I do. But I should. But I really don't. Skip, I wish I could be like Dr. Chilton when he summons Hannibal Lecter in and he wanted him to tell him who Wild Bill was. He had his feet up on the desk and he's twirling his pen. But I don't really care that much. I think what Aaron Rodgers is, the crux of this, Skip, is that Aaron Rodgers says, I need to let go of things I can't control. And what he cannot control is what the hell the Green Bay Packers are going to do. That's what he can't control. All of this goes back to, and I get all that, everything he said. This is about the Green Bay Packers selecting Jordan Love, and they blindsided Aaron Rodgers. They did not give him the heads up, and he hasn't let it go. He can't let it go. He haven't forgiven Brian Gutekunst for what he did. This is what that's about. Now, all that other stuff, if he's dealing with something, okay, fine. But I believe in order for Aaron Rodgers to get into the right headspace, either he needs to move on away from Green Bay or he needs to forgive them for that selection. That's what needs to happen. But to keep, you did Jeopardy, you're in Hawaii, I see you. So everything you seem to be in a good place now. Now, how you got there, maybe you did need to step away from the Green Bay Packers. In the offseason, for me, Skip, I don't really think it's that important. And so, so now what? If things don't go well, then what? So either you go in and say, Pack, look, this is what I'm going to need from you guys. And we move on, but I don't want to go back and forth with this situation, Skip. It just seems to me is that he's still upset. He hasn't gotten his way for what he wanted. He told people close to him. Aaron Rodgers has told people around him and told the Packers he doesn't want to be back. Well, he's still there. And guess what? Jordan Love is still on that roster, and they can't take that pick away. What I'm starting to see, Skip, we for a lot of things, we for diversity, as long as we're not getting diversified. We're for getting an opportunity, as long as the opportunity isn't at our expense. Because does Aaron Rodgers realize how he got the starting quarterback job? Ted Thompson selected him. Granted, he fall, but they selected him. He waited 3 years. Brett Favre was just as upset that they selected Aaron Rodgers as Aaron Rodgers is that they selected Jordan Love. And guess what? Brett Favre couldn't do anything about it. Aaron Rodgers can't do anything about it. So the best thing to do if you want to clear your mind, to free yourself, because right now the Packers have your feelings hostage. You can't be at peace. Peace doesn't mean without the conflict is with you. Because you can't let it go, Aaron. You think the Packers are sitting around like, man, what we gonna do? Guess what? They're gonna move forward, with or without you, just like they did with Brett Favre. They'll move on. These teams don't fold because they don't have great player or a great player leave. New England Patriots, guess what? They fielded the team without Tom Brady. The 49ers fielded the team without Joe Montana. Troy Aikman left, Michael Irvin, Emmitt Smith. The Cowboys still play football, Skip? Aaron Rodgers needs to understand that. And as soon as he understands that, he'll be a lot freer.
So, my thoughts about Aaron Rodgers. I find him to be a very shrewd operator. And now, before every media session that he does, he's got gnats over here, sorry. He's got an agenda. He's premeditated. He's calculated. He's got a narrative that he wants to establish.
Okay.
So this one was fairly stunning to me because obviously mental health is a huge issue in this country. Right. And he sort of flipped it on its head and went in a very positive way that I'm not depressed, he said. There's no self-harm involved here. Right. But I've been working on my happiness. Right. You know, in a very positive way, which is great. I think we all need to work on our happiness. Ernestine tells me that like every day. Right. You need to work on your happiness. Right. But in this case, he is the reigning MVP, and he has had, to my eye from a distance, a great offseason. As you point out, he was... Did Jeopardy, and he was like the runaway favorite to be the permanent host for Alex Trebek on Jeopardy. Right. As a new movie star fiance, and they had a big trip that they posted all the pictures of to Hawaii. Correct. Right? Yes. And my only issue with Aaron is it feels like he spent this whole offseason trying to turn himself back into a sympathetic figure to Packers Nation. Like, gee, they done me wrong. And to your point, he won't let that go.
Right.
And he stuck it back to him, and he said that several times, that I threw a wrench into their plans, right? Well, he did. All he did was win the MVP last year.
Yes.
The problem was that he raved about how he finally got his dream come true, which was a home NFC Championship game.
Correct.
And they lost in large part because he had it first and goal at the 8, and he could not cash on 1, 2, 3 plays. And his young head coach said, I've seen enough. I'll take the field goal, right? And it cut it to 31-26 at that point, and they did not get the ball back.
Right.
And so he's poked fun at that and needled that whole decision through. He did it on Jeopardy when he was there.
Right.
So the point is that Aaron wants everyone to forget the fact he's now 1-4 in NFC Championship games. 1-4. Well, for a Green Bay Packers quarterback, that's horrible.
Right.
And he was lucky to win the first one, which was the one that he did win at Chicago, because, as you know, Jay Cutler sprained his knee and wound up on the exercise bike for coming out of halftime. And somebody named Caleb Haney had to play quarterback for the Bears for the whole second half. And Aaron stunk in that game, but they barely survived, got to the Super Bowl, and he was, God bless him, he was the MVP of the Super Bowl. And it was an extraordinary run because it was a road playoff run as a wild card team all the way to his one and only Super Bowl, what was it, 10 years ago. So you can't wipe the slate clean from 1-4, but he wants Packer Nation to be on his side to put the Packers in a worse and worse situation, because to me, this still smacks of, I just want to finish as a Packer, but I want a big new contract. With guarantees that I will be the starter for the next 3 years. So I can finish, what is he, 37? So he would go to 40. And I don't know that Aaron wants to play until he's 45.
Well, he seems, Tom Brady has made it in vogue, so everybody wants to play to their 45, and everybody believes they can play to their 45. But at some point in time, Skip, he's going to have to move on. Skip, when the Broncos didn't re-sign me, I didn't hold no grudge. I went to Baltimore, won a championship. Baltimore released me. I didn't hold no grudge. I went back to Denver. CBS released me after 10 years. I didn't hold no grudge. I moved on. It happened.
It does.
Bruh, it happens. And if you think the fans are going to side with you over the Packers, ask Brett Favre how that worked out. The Packers, most of those fans, there's a reason why they got a wait list for 100 years. They're Green Bay Packers. The front of the jersey is more important to those fans than the back of the jersey.
That is a fact.
That's how it is with most NFL teams.
It was last Thursday we had our man Lil Wayne on the show. He was a just dyed-in-the-wool, longtime Packer fan. And he's to the point of he doesn't think that they're going to have Aaron back. And he's just a Packer fan.
He said he'll go with the Packers.
And he's already getting his hopes up for Jordan Love. And he's heard some good things about Jordan Love. So it's like, next. Okay, that's what they're going to do.
Bro, move on. It's okay. It doesn't diminish you. I mean, they didn't believe in you. You believed in yourself, and you won. But to sit there and allow them to have your feelings in bondage because you're still feeling some type of way, they're moving on. They're going to move on. Sure, they would love to have you back. But if you move on, the Packers are not going to close. They're not going out of business, Aaron. So you're going to have to make peace with the decision that they made, and you're going to have to make a peace with the decision that you're going to need to make. But you can't keep waffling back and forth. And every time you see this man like, you make me sick, I hate being around you.
Well, don't you find it interesting? He still hasn't gone nuclear on them. He still has not said one time, I want out. I'll never go back there again. There's been no ultimatum, even in this long session he did yesterday. There's no ultimatum. There's no hint of, I'm done with the Packers.
Because at the end of the day, Skip, I don't want to be the villain, though. Because if I say that, I'm the villain. I'm going to just put bits and pieces out there. I'm going to let Adam Schefter say that I've told the Packers I don't want to be. Because he said the loudest guy in the room doesn't have all the facts. Now, the Packers are not just making this up. I can assure you, Mr. Bolin and Mike Shanahan and Gary Kubiak and none of those guys have ever flown to see me. That's not normal. For the head coach and the GM to fly and see players unless something is going on. They said they've done this on several occasions. So you can make it seem like this is a lot of bull jive, but it's not, Aaron. It's not.
Okay? So to your point about Packers fans, all they care about is that Aaron missed the mandatory, whatever it was, the OTA. Yeah, the mini camp.
Right.
He missed it.
Right.
And so, you know what they're going to say? Well, it's great that you're working on your happiness, but we need you to work on being our quarterback.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
What's so bad about being in Green Bay? Because at the end of the day, Skip, look, and it's still not, and probably the Packers, I mean, the thing is now, Skip, when they fine you, they can't forgive the fine. They're going to have to take the money, but they'll find a way to give it back to him. They'll donate it to his cause. Because before, Skip, if you miss mini camps or something, they're like, okay, you come in, we'll waive the fine.
Yep.
But they done away with that. They actually have to take the money. They can't give it back to you. But the Packers are fine. Guess what? We give you a fat new contract. The fine that we took from you, the 90, however much thousands it was, we'll put it in your contract. But Aaron, that's to be in jail in your own mind, Skip, to have your feelings in bondage.
I just don't know that he's going to get a guarantee from the Packers in writing, in contractual form, that he'll be the starting quarterback for 3 more years.
You ain't got to put it in a guarantee for him. But give me $25 more million guaranteed than what Dak Prescott got.
I'm saying that kind of guarantee.
No,
I just don't think he's going to
get it. If you get this man $100 million, fully guaranteed like that guy, he ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Because you talk about some dead money on the cap. You talk about $75 million dead money on the cap.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So he doesn't. I'm sure he would love to be the quarterback for the next 3 years. But he's going to make it so cost prohibitive. He's going to have to be the quarterback for the next 3 years.
Okay. I just don't know if they're going to go there.
Well,
they'll say all the right things, but I don't think they'll do that thing.
Well, they're going to say, well, wait. Or they'll say, hey, Green Bay, make the money right. Just make the money right. What is that, Aaron? You see what Dak got? So do y'all think I'm better, equal to, or less than Dak Prescott? Be careful how you answer this because the price goes up every time you get the answer wrong.
Okay. But he's 37.
I don't care if he's 47. The question is, am I better than, equal to, or less than Dak Prescott? That's a simple yes or no question.
Well,
choose wisely.
Until last year, he was worse than Dak
Don't do
Prescott.
that, Skip.
Well, he was.
On Aaron Rodgers' worst year. On Aaron Rodgers' worst year, Dak Prescott has never been better than Aaron Rodgers.
Plummeting stats for 4 straight years.
Skip, don't do that.
Pro Football Focus said he's the problem.
Skip, Dak is unbelievable what he's been able to do. But if you take Dak Prescott's best season, he's never been better than Aaron Rodgers. Never.
Well, he was declining until he got his fire relit by Jordan Love, and then guess what? He won the MVP.
That's like the stock market coming down from 34,000 to 32,000. Well, it's not as high as it was. Well, damn.
Okay, how do you defend 1-4 in championship games?
Skip, that what is known doesn't have to be explained. He hadn't played well in those games. I told you this the Monday we came out here. I said Aaron didn't get it done.
It's called Title Town, not runner-up town.
He has to get it done. He has to get that ball in the end zone. He has to win that game. I didn't make no excuses. I don't make excuses. The 1-4, he hasn't played well in those games. They haven't played well. But there have been some games there that he played poorly. I concede that. But that ain't got nothing to do with him right now. They know what he's been. So either you want him or you don't. You're willing to give him the money or you're not. Why are we talking about this?
I wouldn't, but I think he wants to finish in Green Bay. I don't think he wants the pressure of having to start over and trying to win.
Ain't no pressure.
Yeah, if he goes to Denver, it'll be like, okay, give us a Super Bowl.
That's what happened.
Right?
Yeah.
Every quarterback that Craig Morton, John Elway, Peyton Manning. You come from somebody, you come from outside, you deliver championship, you go into Super Bowl.
I'm pretty sure Shannon would be there to mentor.
Yes.
Well.
Okay, then.
He was the co-starter. He was
You'd be there to mentor him all the way, Shannon. I have a good feeling about that.
No mercy.
Finals tip-off tonight with the Suns taking their first title and the Bucks their first since 1971. Giannis is officially doubtful for the matchup with the knee injury, while Bleacher Report gave the Suns the advantage in 3 of the 5 starting positions, along with the bench and coach. Fox Bet Sportsbook also has Phoenix as the favorites for tonight's series opener. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard is with us now. Chris, can't believe it. We're finally here. Game 1. Who wins?
Jen, I've got the Suns winning tonight. Look, they start fast. They're 3-0 in their 3 game ones of the playoffs. All of them at home, and they've been able to capitalize on those games. And they're well rested, not only physically, which physically it's helped Chris Paul with his wrist, it's probably helped Devin Booker with his nose, but also mentally. They've been able to get over the excitement and the rush of reaching the finals, and now they can just go out there and take care of business. On the other hand, Milwaukee has been slow to start series. They're 1-3 in the first 2 games of their last 2 playoff series, and that includes 2 games against Atlanta where they split when they were at home. So they're slow starters, and a big part of that is Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton has averaged 15 points on like 32% shooting in games 1 and 2 of the last 2 series. And then he picks it up. It's almost like he's got to figure out how the defense is going to defend him and how he wants to attack it, because from game 3 onward, he's pretty strong. So he can't afford to start slowly, but that just might be his custom. So I don't know. If he doesn't have a good game tonight, then they're obviously in trouble, especially with Giannis unlikely to play. I also want to watch and see how Milwaukee defends Phoenix. Because Milwaukee, if they have to give up something, obviously they don't want to give up anything, but you know you always got to give up something. They would rather give up that mid-range shot. They don't want you at the rim, and they don't want you shooting the 3. But the problem is Phoenix thrives in the mid-range with Devin Booker and Chris Paul. Like, they want that mid-range shot. So I think Chris Paul and Booker are going to have big games because they're going to be getting those shots. And then if Milwaukee tries to take that away, you've got Ayton at the rim. You've got 3-point shooters and Bridges and Johnson and these other guys, Crowder. So I think Phoenix is going to look good tonight. I'm not predicting a blowout, but I think they take game 1 of this series.
I agree with you, and everything is predicated on the backcourt. As a matter of fact, everything is predicated on the backcourt for both teams, because you look at Holiday, you look at Middleton, and you look at Booker, you look at CP3. So it's going to be interesting to see how do these guys actually guard each other, or do they say, you know what, Holiday, you take Book, Middleton, you guard CP3, or vice versa, or do they involve P.J. Tucker? Because P.J. Tucker is a solid defender. I don't know if he can stay in front of Chris Paul, but we'll see. This is what we know. If you look at the 4 losses, Devin Booker shot 42% or less. You look at Chris Paul has been a plus-minus rating. So when they play well, they win. It's as simple as that. Yes, they need Ayton. Ayton is going to give you buckets. What's he averaging? 16 and 11, 16 and 12, something like that. And he's a legit 20 a night guy. It's going to be interesting to see, can Brook Lopez keep up with this young man? Because he can run rim to rim. He's going to put a lot of pressure on the Milwaukee Bucks defense. Especially, they're a very good defensive team, but they're a better defensive team when Giannis is in there. They're a big team. They're a tall team. They're a long team. Minus Giannis, you lose some of that on the defensive end. You lose some of that rim protection. It's going to be, for me, I'm looking at also, what are they going to do with Portis? Portis is 6'10". I think he's too big for Crowder. I think he's too big for Bridges. Do you play Saric alongside Ayton? How many minutes does he get? What about Cameron Payne? I like Cam Payne because he pushes the pace. If you look at the game where Chris Paul played, they won a game where they scored 80 points. They won another game where they scored like 90-something. Chris Paul is not a guy that wants to be very methodical. And so for me, and you mentioned Middleton gets off to this slow start. If they're going to be in trouble, because you had the luxury of having Giannis. Giannis was going to give you, 30 in game 3, 28 and 16. You don't have Giannis, and I don't think you're going to get Giannis until at least game 3, game 4, if you get him at all. I don't believe they can give up the kind of ground that they gave up to the Nets, lose the first 2, and come back. We know they wouldn't have come back had Kyrie and James Harden been healthy, but that's another story. So for me, I like Phoenix Suns. I like them to cover the spread. I like them so much, Skip gave me a case. You notice how I said you gave it to me.
I gave it to you. It's a done deal. So let's do 8 points. Since you said, well, they're going to win by 9.
They're going to win by 9.
Well, come on. Have the courage of your convictions. This is a runaway.
Hold on.
This is a wipeout. You heard everything Chris just said.
I did.
He just statted you to death. He just made the case that this is going to be easy for Phoenix. Easy.
Last I checked, I don't do it often, but I don't go to the booking window and say, I know the line is 6, but I want to bet $50. I'm going to give you 10.
This is not the window. This is us.
You said you were Vegas. Every time I be trying to get a bet, you tell me you Vegas. Now all of a sudden you try to swindle me. You not Vegas.
All right. So now it's my turn, and I'm going to tell you two something that's off the record. I don't want anybody else to hear this. This is just for Chris's ears and Shannon's ears. I feel very strongly that this is a perfect opportunity, right place, right time, for Milwaukee to steal this game at Phoenix for all the reasons both of you just gave. The bandwagon is rolling for the Suns. They have all but been coronated already. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing that Chris Paul broke through finally after year 16 and made it to the finals. And now it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. They're going to win because there is no Giannis, right? And it's somewhat doubtful that Giannis is going to play at all in this series, right? So the point is that for all those reasons, I feel strongly, my intuition is screaming at me that this is upset city tonight in Phoenix. But I don't want the Suns to hear that, because every time I make a prediction like this, against all odds, the Phoenix Suns, like a lot of NBA players, do watch this show. So right now, I'm probably speaking eye to eye with Chris Paul and with Devin Booker and with DeAndre Ayton. And they're going to be outraged over this prediction. How dare you? That there might be a curse word or two. It'll be bleep you, Skip Bayless. Watch this. I have fallen victim to what I call self-defeating prophecy again and again in my career, because when I go way out on the edge of the limb with an upset pick, unless it involves Tom Brady, because Tom Brady just defeats everything. It doesn't matter.
Well, he's always favored.
He is so, well, he wasn't favored at Lambeau, was he? Yeah.
No, he wasn't.
Thank you. So I felt good, because that's one man in sports I don't bet against. But he's in a whole nother stratosphere from all this, because this is still just the Bucks and the Suns. And all I know for sure is that Phoenix got a bunch of breaks along the trail.
They did.
They got a big break when LeBron wasn't quite LeBron, and AD went down and out and tried to come back and couldn't play.
Right.
That was a huge break. And then Jamal Murray not being there for the Nuggets, that was a pretty big break. And then an even bigger break was no Kawhi. And then for a while, no Marcus Morris. And then Big Zoo down and out. Well, your path got cleared for you. The heavens opened, and it was like, let there be Phoenix. Well, so Chris Paul had one magical night. He played the greatest game to me by far of his career. Down the stretch, he went 5 for 5 from the three-point line after he had been 2 for 16 from three in the previous 3 games that he played after COVID. He was horrendously bad shooting the basketball in games 3, 4, and 5 against the Clippers. And then out of nowhere, with 1:43 left in the third quarter, when the Clippers cut it to 7, Chris Paul went berserk. And it was a beautiful thing to watch, because he was basically just willing his team to victory. I've never seen anything quite like it before. And I did not see that coming. But remember, let's not all be prisoners of that moment, because that moment might not be tonight's moment. Will he still be in that mode tonight?
No.
Will he score 50 tonight?
No.
Because if he does, this is a mismatch.
They won't need to.
Okay.
Because Buck's going to chip in and give you 28.
And I keep telling you, we saw 2 breakout games by Chris Middleton, who's been all-star at home, disaster on the road, and at Atlanta in the fourth quarter of Game 3, he scored 20 points. And then Game 6 at Atlanta in the third quarter, he basically put the game away by scoring 23 points. Well, I didn't see those coming on the road from Chris Middleton.
Right.
Well, you don't think he's going to come into this game with renewed confidence? You don't think he's going to come in shooting the ball with some conviction that he hasn't had on the road?
Think about what he did, how he opened the game against the Nets. He was awful. And then he had those great stretches. And you look at Game 6 and Game 7, he hit the clutch shot. And then he starts Atlanta off again with a dud. The thing is about him, you never know. Chris Middleton might give you 50, but he might give you 15 on 6 of 23 shooting. So I don't know what I'm going to get. Holiday has been the same way. So I'm not sure what I'm going to get from those guys.
Okay.
I just believe Booker at home. I believe in Chris Paul at home. And I believe I would put Holiday on CP3 and I would let Middleton take Booker. That's what I would do if I was the coach.
Okay, I agree with you, but you can still mix and match because PJ can play Book too.
Yeah.
He can.
Right.
He'll fight him.
Yeah, they played together. He was there when PJ was there with the Phoenix. So get physical. That's what everybody tries to do. Try to get physical with him, body him up.
So the Bucks have 3 of the better perimeter defenders, and people are just writing them off.
No. It's not going to be easy.
And Brook Lopez is turned back into Brooklyn Brook, and he just goes and posts up. He will cause some problems for Ayton that I don't think Big Zoo could cause.
No, he don't cause no problem for Ayton.
Yeah.
Ayton going to feast.
He's going to feast?
Feast.
Really? What, you got him, 30?
I got him 15 and 15.
Well, that's not feasting.
Feasting.
Oh, stop it. Go 20.
Okay, 20 and 15 for a
20 and
case.
15 for a case?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, I
20.
saw you coming. Chris, I saw him coming. I got my new glasses on. I said, yeah, that's him. Here he comes. Give me an easy bet. Gotcha.
Yeah, the thing is, look, you're right. Obviously, Phoenix has caught these breaks. But they've been banged up, too. Let's not forget that Chris Paul, their leader.
Yep.
Everybody else other than Jay Crowder had not even been in the playoffs.
I got it.
And Chris Paul's banged up in the first series against the Lakers.
Right.
And then, obviously, he missed the first 2 games. So they've had to develop mental toughness. And, as you said, people have coordinated them. They're winning it all this year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they coordinated them against the Clippers without Kawhi. They coordinated them against the Lakers when AD went down and LeBron was banged up. And they still had to play through that and play their best game. So I think this team is mentally tough and been through experiences that will prepare them for tonight.
Okay, I got it. But I think the world wants Chris to win this ring.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's a feel-good story, and I'm with it. I want to see him win this ring. I just have a sneaking suspicion about this game tonight.
But Chris, the thing is, I don't think, like America, dislike the Bucks. I think they just like CP3 and the Suns even more.
Because the Bucks are, without Giannis, they're pretty boring.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Chris Middleton's about as boring an all-star as this side of Tim Duncan, right?
But you got to think about considering what Milwaukee has gone through over the last year, what has transpired, and from the bubble to with the shooting and to this, they're mentally tough now. Don't sell them short.
I'm not. You are.
No, I ain't selling them short.
Yeah.
I just put 2 Ks on it.
You just gave me 8.
No, I gave you 6.
Oh, I thought it was 8.
And I got 2015 for 8. You want that?
Yeah, I took it already.
Oh, you think Brook Lopez gonna shut that 8 down, huh?
I just took the bet. I'll take 20 and 15 for 8.
Got it.
Yeah. He's got to go over. He's got to go 20 or 15.
20 and 15 is I win.
Okay, good. I like it, and I got it. I'll take 8.
He have a double-double at the half.
Yeah.
You ain't know that?
Yeah.
You have a double. I'll give you another case. He have a double-double at the half. A double-double at the half.
I like the one I made.
Yeah, call him in and out because he's a double-double.
Okay. Wait, you're just you're rolling. Okay, give me 8.
No,
Come
6.
on, have some guts.
Nah, I ain't got no guts.
You never have any guts. Huh? Come on, give me 8. You said 9, and you said you believe in it with all your heart and soul.
I like that 3 to play with. You know, I like that 3 to play with. That's a nice little cushion for me.
Okay.
No mercy.
Aaron Rodgers spoke to reporters yesterday about his offseason, but won't share any details about where he'd like to play next season. Meanwhile, former Broncos quarterback Jake Plummer didn't shy away from praising Rodgers. He said that Rodgers has a photographic memory, and like Peyton Manning, if he landed with the Broncos, could make the team an instant contender. Shannon, do you agree with what Plummer had to say?
Absolutely. Kansas City, Baltimore, Tennessee all would be put on notice. There's no question about it. Their defense will be sensational. And you look at that young talent that they have. If you put Aaron Rodgers in there with Noah Fant at tight end, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, they have Cortland Sutton, KJ Hamler. They have pieces that can contend There's no question in my mind. And Von Miller is back and healthy with Bradley Chubb and Pat Surtain and Kareem Jackson and Justin Simmons. Yes, absolutely. Whomever you deem is top in the AFC would be put on notice if Aaron Rodgers donned the blue and orange. There's no question in my mind, Skip. We've seen this happen before. We saw what Drew Brees did for the Saints. We saw what Phillip Rivers did last year for the Indianapolis Colts. We saw what Peyton Manning did when he came to Denver. Four straight AFC West titles. They went to 2 Super Bowls. Absolutely. They would challenge. And I believe he would have a better chance of going to the Super Bowl out of the AFC with that team because I trust Fangio in that defense. No question about it. Yeah.
I think you're spilling blue and orange over there, all over your argument. I think there's no objectivity coming from that side of the table.
Think about what they did. They won like 7 games last year with Drew Lock, who you have little to no respect for.
That's a fact.
Okay, so now you put Aaron Rodgers with that. A guy that does not turn the ball over versus a guy that's a turnover machine with those weapons and that defense.
Okay, so Jake Plummer lost me on his logic here. Maybe he's Jake, I should have been a plumber. I don't know.
All I know is he beat Tom Brady in the playoffs.
Okay, well, he did. Once upon a time, in Tom's personal house of horrors in Denver.
Did he do that?
He did. And then what happened?
I'm just saying what he did. I don't know what happened, but I know what he did.
So Jake Plummer is saying that Aaron Rodgers has been mediocre in Green Bay because he's never been motivated to think he could win a championship with the team around him in Green Bay like he would with the team around him in Denver. That's the thrust of what Jake Plummer said.
I don't know about 3 MVPs and 9 Pro Bowls being mediocre, but okay.
Well, and here's what I don't know about. The Green Bay Packers the last 2 years went 13-3 and 13-3. In this past year, obviously both years they got to the NFC Championship game, got blown out at San Francisco, then got Tom Brady at home, at Lambeau. But last year, the Green Bay Packers tied for the most Pro Bowlers in the National Football League with 7. That's pretty good. Denver had 2, both on defense. I'm going to give you that. But Green Bay also had 2 on defense because Zadarius and Jair Alexander made it.
Right.
Okay? So Devontae Adams was ranked at the end of the year by Pro Football Focus the #1 receiver in all of pro football. Huh? Really? So Green Bay's defense by Pro Football Focus was ranked 8th. Denver's last year was ranked 7th. Well, you can't
with
tell
no
me.
Von Miller.
Okay? But I'm
with
just
no
saying,
Von.
So what?
What you mean, so what?
How old is he now? He's like 42.
No, did you not see what he did in the Super Bowl? Do I need to remind you?
Yeah, once upon a time, long ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Oh, you do, like you said, you know them other guys watch the show. So you don't think Von watches, Uncle? He heard what you said. Now watch what he does.
Yeah, but he's not capable of backing it up at this stage in this age.
What you mean, Skip? The man's 32.
Okay, well, he's on the downside.
Ain't no downside.
Yeah, and he's been hurt and hurt and hurt.
No. Last year was his first year getting hurt. He had been healthy up until then. And 100 sacks in a decade. Who else? 9 years. Who can boast that? But you about to find out.
Gushing orange and blue.
Now you about to find out with him and Chubb.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting. Well, what about these Packers? So
what about them?
I'm even looking last year at points allowed. Green Bay was 13th. Denver was 25th in points allowed last year. Wow.
Think about
25th?
Think about this here. When your quarterback throws 2 interceptions, so you're not. How many interceptions did Drew Lock throw? How many times did he fumble the ball? So imagine when your defense doesn't have to defend short fields, and you got to make somebody go the long way. Oh, Skip, don't do that. I tell you what, tell Green Bay to trade him to us, and we'll see who goes the furthest.
Packers last year were 9th in yards allowed on defense, and Denver was 21st.
Skip.
21st?
I don't care how great your defense is.
Boy, they're shut down in Denver.
If you put them on
the Orange Crush all over. Orange Crush 2.
Okay. When Tom Brady was turning the ball over, how did Tampa's defense look?
When was he turning?
When Tom Brady was turning the ball over, you remember that stretch when they got the doors blown off them?
Yeah, when the defense was like bottom 5 in the league.
That is the defense fault.
Well, do you remember what Drew Brees did to them at Tampa on a Sunday night? I think it took 8 possessions before they even stopped him one time.
What did the defense do to Drew Brees in New Orleans?
Yeah.
What did the defense...
Finally came alive.
Okay,
right
then.
On time.
So it goes hand in hand. So watch. I tell you what, You don't believe it? Tell Green Bay to get up off him. Tell Green Bay to get up off him and put him in Denver, and let's see. I bet they have a better record than Tampa.
All I know is I'm not going to go poor, pitiful Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay because he's had lots of talent.
No, I'm not doing that. No.
That's what Jake Plummer was doing. No. Like, he needs to come here and wake up and smell the roses like, oh, now I got a chance to win. No, you got to the NFC game twice in a row.
All I'm saying, in Denver, whomever you believe are the top contenders, the Buffaloes, the Tennessees, the Baltimore, the KCs, would be put on notice. That's what I'm saying. That's fact.
Okay. Well, you know, he might just lift you all the way up to the AFC Championship game, and he's going to lose it because that's what he does.
Don't do that, Skip.
Well, he just does. He's 1-4
well, not at home.
NFC Championship
Not
game.
at home. Because we be at home. Aaron Rodgers get us the best record in the AFC.
Aaron Rodgers wants none of this pressure.
He wants all that.
He doesn't want to walk into Denver and be seen as the savior.
And he knows Fangio can dial it up. Oh, Von Miller going to come out. Defensive player of the year right now. It's going to be him and Aaron Donald neck and neck. And I'm going, my nephew to take this thing home.
Really?
17 sacks at least.
He's really your nephew. I didn't know that.
Watch this.
Really?
Yeah,
he was from Texas.
He had a different place in his life right now. He got some good things going on.
Really?
He about to be a dad. Yeah.
Okay, good for him.
Yep.
Okay. Man.
About to have two sons.
Well,
Lombardi and Valor.
Really?
Yeah, about to have two sons.
Really?
Yeah, a couple of months apart.
Huh. Poor Aaron. He's got to get away from the dregs of the earth talent that they have in Green Bay and get to Denver where they are loaded.
I'm not talking about I'm just saying, if you put him in Denver, what the outcome would be. I feel very comfortable.
Well, they'd be prohibitive favorites. To run away with that Lombardi, right?
It'd be probably a pick'em game. I tell you what, they'd be favored against Kansas City at home. They might not be favored against Kansas City in Kansas City, but they'd be favored against Kansas City at home.
Well, all I know is I would love to see that Denver team with that quarterback.
No, you wouldn't. You don't
get to the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay.
You remember?
And remember what happened last year at Tampa Bay? 38-10 happened to that quarterback.
You remember?
38-10.
You remember what?
He almost threw back-to-back pick sixes against that Tampa defense.
You remember what happened when Peyton Manning went to Denver against your team in the playoffs? Every year they saw each other in the championship game. What happened?
I don't know.
You don't know. Beat the brakes off them.
I just know that Tom Brady has 7 going on 8 Super Bowls, and that's all I care about.
Well, how many would he have if he didn't go into the people named the Mannings? How many would he have then?
Well, Peyton had a funny line about that yesterday ahead of the match, right? And he said, if it weren't for my mom, Olivia, Tom would have 11 of those things.
Probably.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, probably.
Yep. Okay. Well, there you go.
So the Mannings.
And I agree with
that. That's a kryptonite, the Mannings. Yeah. Kryptonite.
Okay. Well, they're both retired, so.
But hey, we got a new one.
Yep.
Let that rascal right there go to Denver.
Okay,
we got
let him go. That rascal.
You don't want that. You know, you pretend you talking all big because you know there's a very slim chance that's going to happen. But I was.
I'm talking all big because for the first time in history, a Super Bowl champion brought every starter back on offense and defense. Every starter.
Still not going to win it.
It's over.
Still not going to win it.
I got this.
Not going to win it.
I don't know.
Yep.
Shannon, you're putting a lot of pressure.
You talking
I'm
big.
talking
You
big
talking
and
real
bad.
big.
Yeah, I got
real
this.
big. Okay.
I got this.
Okay.
I think if history is any indication of where we should go, it'd be Tom Brady's side, Shannon, because all he does is win, right? All he does is win.
No mercy.
Saturday, Aaron Judge and the Yankees take on Jose Altuve and the Astros, or rivals collide at Wrigley when the Cardinals face the Cubs, or the NL Central leading Brewers battle the Reds. Saturday, 7 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Check local listings for the game in your area. Taken 16 years in the NBA, but Chris Paul will finally be able to play in his first finals game tonight. CP3 has been on a mission since the second round. He has averaged nearly 25 points, 8 assists, and under 2 turnovers a game. Shannon, what do you expect from CP3 tonight? He's been working towards this.
I expect him to play extremely well, Skip. He's well rested. I believe the COVID issues are behind him. I believe the shoulder is healed. He was dealing with the wrist injury, but that should be a lot better than it was the previous series. Now, I don't expect to see closeout Chris. Yeah, that's what I dubbed him, closeout Chris, because in the closeout game, we saw what he did against the Nuggets. We saw what he did against your team. So I don't expect to see closeout Chris tonight, but I expect to see, something like 20, maybe 20 points, 10 or 11 assists. I expect him to play extremely well, knowing that what this moment means, not knowing that you don't ever take these opportunities for granted because you don't know if and when you'll ever get back. So I expect Chris Paul to play extremely well, and when he plays well, they win. It's as simple as that. I can give you all these stats and all these numbers, but when Chris Paul plays well, Phoenix Suns win ball game.
That is true.
He plays well, they win tonight. I get due to my rope.
I agree. So, just for the record, our man Lil Wayne just texted me and said, I just lost that bet to you because he is going to be there at courtside tonight in Phoenix.
Yeah.
And Chris Paul loves having his man Lil Wayne courtside because it puts him in a comfort zone and he wants to put on a show for Wayne.
Yep.
So, I'm doomed.
Hold the plane, Wayne. I'm rolling with you.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
gonna go?
No.
I would have come.
Nope.
I wish I could go to that because I think it is going to be electric in that arena.
You should
No,
go.
I don't want to go to the game. I want to be here tomorrow to beat you down and collect my 3 cases.
1 case.
3
will get you back
What
here
you mean
quickly.
one? We got DeAndre Ayton double-double. We got Andre Ayton 2015.
I didn't take double-double.
Okay, we got 2015, and we
Okay.
got the Suns winning by 6.
Okay, what's going to happen? I'll lose the first bet because Wayne's going to be there, and I'm just that.
You're going to lose both bets. I'm getting
No,
sweepstakes.
This happens to you every time. You make some idiotic bet off the
Sweepstakes.
top of your head. You get all full of yourself, and you give me back the case while you're taking one. So that's what's going to happen. We'll just push.
You remember? No.
We'll split.
Remember I got sweepstakes? I told you the Nets was going to lose in 7. I told you Atlanta was going to win, and Trae Young was going to do what he did, and I got sweepstakes. Sweepstakes again.
Really? Coming into these playoffs, you were 45 cases down.
Now I'm only down 27. Now I get it back.
I don't think it's 27.
Maybe 32, but who's counting?
Yeah, who's counting is correct. So I do agree. I think Chris will be very good tonight. But I'm going to remind everyone, he was not very good until that closeout Chris showed up in Game 6. I'll give you that. I've never seen anything like it. I'm still having a hard time wrapping my mind around what he did coming off games 3, 4, and 5, which were the first 3 games he was able to play against the Clippers after COVID. And in those 3 games combined, he was 19 of 60 from the field. That's 32%. That won't cut it. They were lucky to win the middle game. Remember, it was 84-80, and neither team could make a shot in the fourth quarter. And they lost 3, and they lost 5 at home to the Clippers because Chris wasn't very good. From 3, he was 2 of 16 combined in those 3 games. In the fourth quarter of those 3 games, almost all 3 of them losses, he was 1 of 7 from 3. Then what got into him? Close out Chris. He went 5 of 5 from 3 in the last minute or so of the third quarter plus the rest of the fourth quarter. He made 5 out of 5 threes. Well, maybe it's the Lil Wayne factor. I don't know.
I don't care what factor it is. I just need him to go ahead and beat Chris Paul. I beat Cliff. Because when Cliff Paul show up, you know everything going to be all right.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll take Cliff Paul in a second tonight. I hope he shows up.
When Cliff's on the scene, you in trouble.
Cliff can't play ball.
He makes everything okay.
Yeah, well, he's a good agent, but he can't play basketball.
He can do them both.
Yeah. I'm looking for a little Cliff Paul tonight. I need a little bit.
No.
Yep.
Skip, this is what we know. Most times than not, in the first game, Middleton does not play particularly well.
Okay.
You can't
banking on that?
You can't play. I can't bank on anything with Middleton because I don't know. He might give you a 50-piece. But he might give you a kid's meal also, a 4-piece. So I don't know.
Would you say that Chris Middleton is capable of being just as explosive as Devin Booker?
Yes.
He is.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. I've seen him go get 50 in a playoff game. He did it last year to the Heat.
Would you say Drew Holiday can defend at a high level?
Yes, he can.
Can he defend point guards at a high level?
Yes. But I saw Trae Young give him a 48-piece.
Yep.
You saw that, right?
I saw that.
Okay.
But that was game 1, right? When they were not taking the Hawks very seriously.
Well, Trae came back and gave him some more business. The game he missed game 4 because they won that game without him.
Okay.
But don't you worry. Don't you worry. You just sit over there. Just have me my due.
Yep. So I don't think this will be about how poorly the Suns shoot it. I think it'll be about how well that Milwaukee shoots it, coming off highs of a big road win against the Hawks with Trae Young back in Atlanta.
I'm counting on them to take a bunch of threes. I got them somewhere between 33 and 40 threes. That's what they do.
Okay? What if they make 35% of those?
Why would I think they would make 35% when the last time they did that?
Did you see Chris Middleton in the third quarter the other night?
Yeah, I saw Chris Middleton in the game 1 and 2, too.
Yep.
Yeah, you saw that?
I saw 23 in the third, and the game was over.
I saw Devin Booker go get 70. So we predicted he go get 70. I saw DeAndre Ayton just eat up Zubats. You saw that too, right?
I did, and I don't think he's going to eat up Brook Lopez like that.
Really, Skip?
Really.
Now all of a sudden you got Brook Lopez like he Bill Russell.
Okay, let's go 25 and 15.
No, we got 20 and 15. We good.
You won't put your due where your mouth is.
I already did.
You gloat and talk big. You know.
Double at the half. Do you want it?
No, I don't want it.
Call it Mr. In and Out. Double. They good.
I don't want any part of that.
Are you scared? Have the courage of your conviction.
I've already pushed with you. Thanks to Lil Wayne, I have lost the game bet, but I will win my DeAndre Ayton
You
bet.
losing both of them. You didn't know that?
Yep.
Yeah, you losing both of them.
Okay, we'll go to 25 and 15.
No.
If you did that, I would come in tomorrow and I'd say, I bow down.
You gonna come in tomorrow with 2 cases.
I genuflect.
First of all, you gonna come in, your arm's gonna be hurting from carrying my 2 cases from your car up here. You got space in that? You got space in the vet to put 2 cases in the back?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
And I won't need it because there'll be no blood.
Because Ernestine's not gonna let you put 2 cases on her seat in her Bentley. So you got. So I don't know how you gonna get the 2 cases in. But that's not my concern.
Well, that would mean one of us would actually pay off a bet then, right?
I'll pay. Hey, I got
pay?
it.
When was
Yes.
the last time you paid? What year was that?
Hold on, I gave you 20 cases last year. You done drunk all that?
It might have been 2 years ago.
You done drunk all that, dude?
Huh? I swim in it.
That was a while ago.
Well, I'm gonna give you a pool. I'm gonna be swimming in what I win back from you.
It might be time. We might have to pay up at this point because the numbers are getting out of control.
We
for
have
me to
some
keep track
premature
of.
celebration going on here with the Suns and with this man across from me.
Hey, you.
A little bit.
Hello.
Love it.
Can we get back to Wayne taking us all to the game?
Yeah.
I feel like
There's room on that jet.
Yeah.
Wayne?
I don't want to go, though. I want to be here to celebrate.
I would love to.
Because there's nothing like celebrating here.
No, there's way more fun to celebrate with Wayne.
You can't wear your golf mask anymore because LeGone is gone.
That's all right. I'm going to give me an authentic. Hey, Book, see your boy an authentic jersey.
Authentic jersey?
Yeah, I'm going to get me one with that PayPal logo on it.
Okay.
No mercy.
Chris Paul is the Players Association president, and he defended this season's quick turnaround and more compact schedule that some, like LeBron, have openly criticized. CP3 stressed that it's a process that involves all the players and conversations are had about every detail. He also said, quote, if people don't like it, then you know everybody has the same opportunity to be a part of all of these conversations. Which makes sense. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard back with us. Chris, are you surprised Chris Paul didn't defend the stance of his good friend LeBron here?
The way the question's worded, it sounds like somebody's trying to start beef between Chris and LeBron. But
never.
No, I'm not surprised because Chris, look, as close as they are, Chris Paul is his own man. And we all talk about how he's one of the greatest leaders in the league. You don't become a leader by kowtowing to everybody, and even to your friends. And so I don't think he looked at it like I'm going against LeBron. But even if he did, he's going to speak his mind. And what Chris said is true. Like the Players Association voted to go along and start in December. They didn't really want to, but once the league showed them, look, if we wait till January, we're going to lose between $500 million and $1 billion, and that's going to impact your salaries. And so Chris and all the other players talked about it, and most of them, including LeBron. LeBron did it grudgingly, obviously, but he even, once he saw that money, even he was like, yeah, we got to start. So they all agreed to start in December. So Chris, I think, looked at it like, look, let me remind you guys that it's not like I just made a unilateral decision.
Exactly.
This is all the players have their chance to weigh in. And we all, he didn't say this yesterday, but you saw the money and you recognize that this was what you should have done. So, no, I'm not surprised by it because even if he had agreed with LeBron, it really would have even been making himself look bad.
Right. Because
he, as the president of the Players Association, is held responsible for their decision. So, No, one, I think he spoke the truth, but two, I also think he defended himself.
I totally agree. And the Players Association, and look, a lot of times, you know, having been in the NFLPA Players Association, being a member, I wasn't on the board or anything, is that you got to do what's the best for all of them, all 1,500 members, not just one. It might not, you know, it's like the quarterbacks, Skip. The quarterbacks didn't want to be because they're like, we're isolated. So the quarterbacks started their own club. The quarterback club was separate from the NFLPA. Okay, fine. Well, the NBA is not like that. They're joined. So we got 450 players. What is in the best interest of all 450? Not just one, not just five. What's in the best interest of all? Well, the best interest of all is not to lose $500 or $1 billion. Let's get that money. Nobody's trying to take a deduction because you'd already taken a deduction because of the 5 months you missed because of COVID, because of the pandemic. So guys weren't trying, especially guys that's not making $35, $40 million. Everybody's not making LeBron James and Chris Paul and these upper-level players money. So I don't blame the guys. Hey, I get it. Yeah, it's a lot of wear and tear on your body, but you're not going to get an opportunity to make this money up. And so Chris Paul was well within his right. LeBron was right to voice his opinion and says, I believe a lot of the injuries that we're seeing was because we played a condensed season. We played 10 fewer games in two fewer months. So I believe he voiced his opinion. Chris Paul said, look, and Chris Paul didn't say, well, he and LeBron didn't have a conversation. He's like, hey, if there was something that you wanted or wanted added or something taken out, you could have voiced that. So I love what Chris Paul said. I love what LeBron James said. But at the end of the day, Chris Paul is in the NBA Finals. It look pretty good to him right now.
Right.
So I ain't got no beat.
He's not complaining.
Look where I'm standing. It's pretty good from where I'm standing, and we're healthy. So I don't have a problem with it, Skip. And like I said, we can be friends. Just because we friends, that don't mean I got to agree with everything you say. Ask my friends, do I agree with everything they say? They'll tell you, hell no.
So
if you're really friends, you got that leeway.
Yes.
To, disagree. Well, I think Chris understands. Look, LeBron respects me enough. I respect him enough where if we disagree on something, that's just the way it is, but we still are good friends.
Interesting. So to your point, it sounds like Chris Paul should momentarily disqualify himself for operating for the good of the whole because he's operating only for the good of himself. Because if you want to serve business interest for the league, right now his only business interest is for CP3.
Right.
He is the last man standing because Phoenix is the last team standing, so to speak, because Giannis appears to be out who knows how long. But the point is, Phoenix is now the quote-unquote most healthy team, even though Chris has had a rough ride through the playoffs with his shoulder and COVID and now a shooting wrist, supposedly a torn ligament. But he seems to be okay. They seem to be pretty good as far as health goes. And it has become a matter of who's the last team standing, right? That's what these playoffs have sort of degenerated into. So all of a sudden, I was a little surprised that Chris, because LeBron was so outspoken about it, he tweeted so strongly about it. Remember the scathing tweet? I told you so. I told you this was going to happen. I was surprised Chris didn't at least pay some homage to what LeBron's position was by saying you can certainly make a case for, or case that the compacted season contributed to these injuries. But he didn't. No. He just ducked it and dodged it and said, we have conversations.
He's going to make a great CEO because Chris Paul does a great job of towing the company policy and not ruffling any feathers. But he was right. He was right, though, Skip.
I know. But the amazing thing about Chris Paul's career is he's been doing this for a long time, running the Players Association. It's like a full-time job. It takes away so much of your energy and focus from your actually playing basketball. And he has obviously played for the longest, 16 years, at the highest level. He is going to be, obviously, a Hall of Famer. He's a first-ballot Hall of Famer. He needs to cap it off with a ring. But I'm just amazed because his degree of difficulty to get to this moment was much harder because he chose to serve as the head of an organization with a whole lot of conversation going on because these NBA players, they're different than NFL players in that they're all more outspoken in and of themselves, right? They're more individual.
And if you look at it, Chris, I think a lot of players might not like Chris Paul personally, but they respect the job that he's done and what he's tried to do for the betterment of everybody. So you might not like the way he conducts himself on the basketball court. You say he done some dirty, some cheap things. But when you look at the totality of his work and how he's tried to work to get everybody more money and to give everybody a voice, you say, okay, now this is why I have so much respect for Chris Paul. But like I said, I mean, we can be friends. Chris, I've been waiting to tell this story. My senior year, the guys, they didn't like the cafeteria food. Now, mind you, we small, so we black college.
Senior year, college.
In college.
Okay.
They didn't like the food, Chris. Now, Mr. Hewitt, he was the guy, he put us, the football players, because we ate in the general cafeteria. He said, boys, y'all coming a little later, I'm going to have some steaks for y'all. Okay, steak. Okay. But the guys got in their mind, hey, they came to my room. Hey, Sharpe, we want to run something by you. I'm like, okay, what's up? Man, we're going to boycott the calf. I say, why? Man, the food they gave us on Thursday, we had that on Monday and Tuesday. I say, if y'all don't get y'all cry freedom, mofo, you know what, out my room, I say, I ain't boycotting nothing. I say, that man give us steak. I say, and y'all want to boycott after all he's been good to us? I say, man, if y'all don't get up out my room, guess what? They showed up on Friday eating that same food. So I'm going to do what's in the best interest of everybody. Y'all trying to do in the best interest of yourself. Y'all do realize this ain't Ohio State. This ain't Alabama. You ain't got no big training table. Can y'all think about somebody other than yourself? I was thinking about everybody, Skip. The whole school, you want to boycott. What that look like out there, Skip? That man done gave us steak, and I'm leading the boycott. Boycott the calf. Boycott Mr. Hewitt. Say, man, if y'all don't get up out my room.
Maybe LeBron should listen to your story.
to your point, to your points, Shannon, the Players Association, we all know the stars, and it gets hot and heavy, right, with the owners. The stars show up. But the Players Association generally looks out for the best interest of the rank and file.
Yes.
Because most of the players are rank and file.
Yes.
And most of them aren't LeBron or TP.
Ain't getting no super max.
And just look, they have max salaries. The max salary does not benefit LeBron and Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. It benefits the rank and file. So that's who they're really looking out for. And Skip, for Chris Paul, he don't want to hear any talk about the injuries.
Nope.
I'm sure, because people are gonna, if they win this championship, right, especially if Giannis doesn't play, that's going to be a lot of the chatter. And it'll be years from now when people finally look back and they won't remember, the details get fuzzy. So people won't remember all the guys that were hurt. He probably can't wait till that day if they win this.
Wait, did Chris just say when they win this championship? I think he did.
You said that, Chris?
I said if, but
I think you said
I got
when.
him in 6. I got him in 6.
Okay.
Chris, don't burn the money,
I got him in
Chris.
6.
You know when you gamble, you don't touch the money while you still betting.
What's your pick, Skip?
He got the Bucks.
I
got the Bucks tonight. That's all I got.
But you haven't made a pick for the series? You're not making a pick for the series?
I need to hear what Giannis is going to do.
You got little or no faith in Giannis, so why you care what he going to do?
I don't want him to play. That's what I'm saying.
Well, if he don't,
I like the Bucks a lot better if he doesn't play. I told Chris. Did I not tell Chris that on Friday? And
you like him better if he doesn't play?
Yep. I already told you that. I like this team better
2
without
wins.
Giannis. I can't root for Giannis.
Well, you ain't got no team to root for.
Wow.
Ain't no Kawhi Town, ain't no Georgetown, it's a ghost town.
Shannon Sharpe said, for the record, yesterday on the show, and I quote, if Kawhi Leonard had been healthy, the Clippers would be in the finals.
No.
You said it.
No.
You said it. I'm quoting you.
So where do you think the Lakers are going to be if LeBron
I don't care about the Lakers. You said that yesterday, and I'm taking that to my bank. Thank you. Next question.
Well, I mean, you had Paul George. He's going to deliver you.
Yep.
Question. Skip said it. We're moving on, and I have a feeling we know where we're going. Chris, thank you again. Enjoy that game. We'll get your reaction tomorrow.
No mercy.
On FS1, the biggest soccer tournament of the year is down to the semifinals. Catch Messi as he leads Argentina against Colombia. The action kicks off tonight at 8:30 Eastern on FS1 and the Fox Sports app. The fourth round of the match is set to get underway in just a few hours. This time, it will be Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady, who played together in the May 2020 edition, taking on newcomers Bryson DeChambeau and Aaron Rodgers. According to Fox Bet Sportsbook, Bryson and Rodgers are slight favorites here. Shannon, who wins the match?
I'm taking Phil. I don't care who Phil plays with. I'm taking Phil.
Wait a second. You just buried the lead. He's playing with Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr.
Phil Mickelson won a golf tournament with Charles Barkley as his partner.
Okay.
Phil Mickelson, I can be
a match. Yeah.
A match.
Yeah.
Skip, I could be Phil Mickelson's partner, and we would beat DeChambeau and Aaron Rodgers.
No, you would
That's
not.
How, well, you won't bet nothing.
Yes,
I bet we beat. I tell you who we would beat. We beat DeChambeau and Skip Bayless.
Well,
that's for sure.
How about me and you go right today?
No,
I'll go
Phil.
right now for 1,000 cases of Diet Deal.
I need Phil as my partner, and we beat the brakes off you and your partner.
Well, DeChambeau will hit it 50 yards past Phil Mickelson today.
But he can't deal with them irons. Phil is a magician with them irons. Yeah, that's what Phil goes.
Phil is 51 years of age.
Didn't he just win the PGA?
Yeah, he did.
So what was he? Was he 32 when he won that, or was he 51?
No.
Okay, then.
Yep.
So I'm taking Phil and whomever he's playing with. I don't know his partner, but I'm taking Phil.
I believe you just finally wised up and saw the light. You do not bet against Tom Brady in any sport.
Didn't Peyton Manning and Tiger Woods just beat the brakes off him?
Well, that was Tiger Woods.
Okay, then.
And I've never seen Tiger play better. And by the way, that was Tiger's home course that he was playing on. So, and I will give you this. I didn't think Brady played very well that day because he hit a lot of moonshots left and right.
Yeah.
He hit some big banana slices into the wood.
But he holed out.
He did. He holed a 9-iron. When Barkley was all over him, he said, okay, watch this on the 9th hole. He holed it out.
There it is right
there. There it is. Thank you very much.
And he split his pants.
Yeah.
Was that the one he split his pants on?
Celebration. Yes, he did. Good memory. So the point is, I believe Tom will play a lot better. I believe at points in this match, Tom will carry Phil.
Man, stop it.
Well, he just will. He's Tom Brady.
Skip. That's like playing a celebrity. We got a partner. LeBron James is one player, and the other guy is Steph Curry. And you say at some point the celebrities are going to carry the pros. Stop that.
Well, the point is, doesn't Tom always beat Aaron in whatever they're doing?
No.
Yes.
This is all. Yeah. So you actually believe he could beat if they just play one-on-one?
Golf?
Yeah.
Aaron's pretty good.
Exactly.
Yeah. That would be a good match, actually.
But I believe Phil. So who's better, Phil or DeChambeau?
I don't know. DeChambeau talks a bigger game.
Yeah,
right?
That's all.
Yeah.
Did you see?
We did see
him
DeChambeau won a U.S. Open at Winged Foot by 6 shots.
Did you see what he did? Did you see him fall apart the other day?
Did
all of a sudden he say he hate golf?
Yeah, he shot on the back nine. He shot like 7
under.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because after 8 holes, he was leading the golf tournament.
Yeah.
Right.
And then what happened?
The U.S. Open.
And you want me to put my money on that guy? Well, he just missed the cut last week. Forget the U.S. Open. He just missed the cut last week.
Yep. Plus, he just. I don't know if he fired his caddy or they parted his ways for a while.
Yeah.
They had a separation.
Yeah, and he and Brooks kept going.
Yeah, and they've got that thing going.
Yeah.
But I looked what Aaron said yesterday about DeChambeau, that he's misunderstood because he's really a good dude, said Aaron of DeChambeau. And I'm thinking those two are birds of a feather because they got lots of diva in both of them.
They're both misunderstood.
DeChambeau thought that he could reinvent the game of golf by making every club in his bag the same length. And he did win that U.S. Open. Then he went to Augusta National for the Masters and said, this is really a par 67 for me. It's par 72 for everybody else. And he proceeded to finish tied for 46th.
Yeah.
So couldn't really
because he was hitting the ball. He played in Augusta, but he was hitting it in Marietta. He was hitting it in Savannah. He was hitting it all over the place.
DeChambeau loves the media. He loves all the glory until he parts ways with his caddy, and then he's nowhere to be found, would not acknowledge any media requests.
Well, he's not the first guy. He's not the first guy to part with his caddy.
Well, that's a fact.
Because didn't Greg Norman fire Stevie Williams? Tiger fired Fluff. So they're not the first.
Yeah. No, it happens.
But just stand up and say, look, I decided that it would be best if we both went in a different direction. It's okay.
So you have seen the light. You've learned your lesson. Don't bet against Brady.
Now, if it was somebody else, if he was playing one of these pros, Koepka or JT or one of these other guys, okay, I'm going to take the other guy in Aaron Rodgers. But since it's Phil, I'm going to take Phil against DeChambeau.
Way to go. No guts, no glory.
And you on top. At some point, really, Skip, you actually think Tom Brady going to carry Phil Mickelson on the golf course?
He'll hole a 40-footer to win a hole. Just watch.
He ain't going to hold nothing.
Yep, watch.
Anytime
you want a piece of me on the golf course, I'll be there.
No, I'm going to send my brother to take care of
it. I'd like to participate as well. Rodgers has only played 8 or 9 rounds in the past 12 months, guys.
But
he said playing less, it helps him, right? Playing less. It doesn't. The golf doesn't work that way normally, not for most people. Maybe if we got Shannon's brother involved in the game this week. Skip, who would you pick? Well, Brady, obviously.
Yeah,
okay,
I'll
all
take
right.
Brady.
We'll make it happen.
Over my brother?
Yeah.
I got 100 cases on that.
No mercy.
Several hours away from tip-off for Game 1 of the finals between the Suns and the Bucks. So, Shannon, we'll get right to it. What is the score tonight?
I'm taking the Suns 105-96. I mean, everything is really predicated on the backcourt of both teams, but I believe the Suns' backcourt will outperform the Bucks' backcourt tonight. So I'm going to take Chris Paul and Book, take the Suns 105-96.
Okay. I am here to announce I have finally lost a bet to Shannon Sharpe, and the game has not even been played yet. I stupidly took the Bucks plus only 6 points tonight at Phoenix, and I got no shot because Lil Wayne will be there courtside to inspire his close friend Chris Paul, who will have a big game. DeAndre Ayton will have an okay game. It won't be what you think it is. But your team, the Phoenix Suns, will win Game 1, what would you say, 105-96.
Yes.
So that's my prediction, 105-96 Phoenix tonight.
That ain't your prediction.
Yeah, it is. That's what I think. I'm here to announce
I thought you said the Bucks were going to steal one.
Huh?
You just said the Bucks were going to steal the game.
I am. But I give up before the game. I give it up.
All because Lil Wayne is going to the game. Enjoy Game 1 of the finals tonight. We'll be all over it tomorrow. The Herd is on now. Have a good one.